My name is Pichaya Sunthornyanagit, and people know me in Thailand as Chef Pam. I'm the fifth generation, and my ancestor moved from China, from an island called Jingmen. Back then, it was part of China, but now it's become part of Taiwan. And the story that I was told, because I never lived during their generation, and so I was told by my grandfather that my ancestor was really poor in China, and he was looking for a new life. So he decided to go on a boat and then sail to Thailand and settle down here and wish for a better life. So he was in his boat selling many things near the river in Samut Prakan in Thailand, and he didn't make a lot of money, so he suffered a little bit at the beginning. But after that, by chance, he met a lady, which which become, which they got married, and they did a business of Chinese medicine. So after that, for a while, they earn more money and become, earn a living of their own and become, richer. And then they decided to build a home in Bangkok, and that's where Potong is. This building is built to become their home, their factory of the Chinese medicine, and like a storefront of selling the medicine. So as you can see, the design of Potong building is very unique, and at that time a lot of Portuguese influence. So the building is more like a Sino-Portuguese style. And at that time, my ancestor was quite wealthy. They can make a lot of money from doing the Chinese medicine business. And so the building, they invest a lot in this building. I can tell. I mean, you can tell because it's really strong and it can stand for like 120 years old. The material that they use is, is they build to last. So back then, the Chinese people believe that if to show that a business is doing good, you have to have a strong home with nice material, even like a billboard. Nowadays billboard is built to the minimum cost, but back then billboard needs to be something of expensive wood, to show that this brand is part of branding back then. So everything he built, he used the best of the best. That's why it lasts for 120 years until now, and it still look good. So yeah, that's the story of my family, and until today, I'm the fifth generation, and my brother's still running the Chinese medicine business, but right now the factory is out of Bangkok. I have to say that I never lived in this building before, nor did my father. only my grandfather and above generation. So I never visited. I never come here before because our family moved to Sukhumvit area since like 60 years ago, and this building is rented out to sell shoes, like everyone else around here. So I never come up to third floor, fourth floor before, and but my father and my mother always, they take me to Yawarat Road, and especially a small alley called Sampeng around here, to buy like Christmas trees, Christmas ornaments, all toys. Since I was young because it's cheap, and every time they take me here, they would point me to this building from the junction down there, the small junction, and they would point out that here is the building where my ancestor and my grandfather used to live. And I saw from afar, from the look of the outside, for me when I was young, it looked kind of like scary in a way because of the design. Is not like everyone else around here, so it looks old for me, and I have a weird feeling. I don't know whether it's good or bad at that time, the feeling that I felt, but I have some connection with this building without living in here or coming inside. The genre of food that we are serving is something that no one have done before. We do progressive Thai Chinese cuisine, where people ask what is it. It's very personal to me. So it is the marriage of Thai and Chinese culture of eating, where it's started from the immigration of Chinese people who moved to Thailand hundreds of years ago, and they bring a lot of food and the way of eating and the way of cooking, the technique, with the Thai ingredients and Thai taste. So it's the mix of Thai and Chinese cultures, where you cannot find in authentic Thai food and you cannot find in authentic Chinese food. It's only started in Chinatown back then. So, but I put progressive because I want to present in a way that have never done before, very modern, and sometimes I use the technique that I learned from America, Western technique, and kind of like present in a way that captures customers' memories, where my food philosophy is about creating memories together. So I come up with the philosophies of 5 elements and 5 senses. So the 5 elements are salt, acid, spice, Maillard reaction, and texture. So those are the factors that I always think back when creating a new menu, because over the years of cooking and trying out, I think every chef needs time to really learn who you are. I think chef needs time to, how do we say this? I think all the chefs who want to become great needs to be true to themselves and really know what they want to become and what food they want to cook, And for me, it's the progressive Thai Chinese because it's my heritage plus my experience in cooking field. And so yeah, that's the five elements that I always think back when I'm creating a new menu. And the five senses is where I want to capture customers' memories with us because I have a child, I have a daughter, and me and my husband bought a book about how to, or how to teach your daughter to remember something. And it says in the book that if the five senses happens at the same time, it's where memories is captured deeply in a child's brain. So the five senses are touch, taste, smell, see, and hear. For example, if you want to teach your daughter to remember an apple, you don't just show them a picture of apple and then say that this is an apple. That's just two dimensions, right? You need all the five senses to activate the memory for a long-term memory. So you need the daughter to taste it, to touch it, and smell it. So if these, five senses happen all at once, that's where memories are created. So I got that concept from reading, children's book and apply with how we serve the food at restaurant Poto. So we try to implement all the senses to the customers where they can somehow touch the food or touch something or some interaction with the food. So they have that part of one of the five senses. And we tell a lot of stories so they can hear and they can remember the stories that really happened to my family or my childhood or my memories of cooking or my memories of visiting farmers, And also all the senses needs to be happening during the diner's experience. So coconut has been in the Thai and the Chinese culture for a very long time, and it's a very, very humble ingredient. But I want to turn this humble ingredient and turn into something very interesting and something valuable and something that is that that people respect, you know. So I use all parts of coconut and turn into something that has not done before and cook in a way that no one ever thought of doing it. So the first bite is the coconut apple, which most people don't know what it is. So coconut apple is the center of an old coconut, only grows in not in young coconut, in like old coconut, and fallen from the tree, and it's left there. No one knows it and nobody use it. So we want to, bring that and do something with it. So I came up with like a salad because the coconut apple is the texture is like a sponge, so it can absorb a lot of flavors. So I mix a salad and have a small bite that is a punch of coconut apple and salad. The second bite is coconut milk or coconut liquid. I infuse with the three stinkies, which is my favorite. This one is very acquired and unique taste for many people, but for me it's very personal because I love it so much. The three stinkies, which are sha'om, stinky beans, and fermented shrimp. So I do that and fill it in matcha green tea leaves. And then next one is the coconut meat. This one is many customers' favorite. So when I think of when I was doing R&D, when I see the coconut meat, I think of squid because of the white color and the thinness of it. So I thought of the squid that is sold around Yaowarat on a stick. So I decided to skewer it up, grilled, glazed with mango glaze, and add a little bit of caviar lime and cilantro. So it's one bite that is packed with flavors, and it's kind of an illusion because people think that this is a squid, but it's actually a coconut meat. So this is very interesting taste, very small bite, but a hit of flavors and a hit of surprises. And then the last but not least bite here is the coconut husk. So we take the coconut husk and burn it, and then we soak it in milk, in coconut milk, to take the fire out and to infuse the coconut milk with the smoky flavors of the coconut husk, and then turn that into a ice cream sandwich. So this one is the last bite of the coconut and cleanse the whole palate. So that's where the idea comes from, and why we serve on this light box, because on the light box we have all the quotes and sayings of coconut, and also to tell the stories. So that's where it comes from, and customer love it. It surprised them, something new no one has never done before. So that sums up the concept of what we're trying to do also, and the concept of zero waste. And then next one is blood clam. So blood clam has a very personal memories to me, because when I first dated my husband, Tor, um, 6 years ago, our first date was at Yaowarat actually, because Yaowarat Road is famous for street food. It's the birth of street food actually, and until now, it's crowded with local people and tourists. And we also come here to date, and one of our favorite place to eat is in Texas Road in Yaowarat, and they sell only blood clams, and I like the blood clams bloody. It's the only clam that has hemoglobin, really actually have blood in it, and it's really good when it's cooked like 20 seconds, like still rare, still bloody, and dip in a seafood sauce, a little bit spicy, sour. So that's where this course comes from. But we put everything in a like a small cup, and you don't see anything in there. But when you eat it, there's an explosion of flavors, and when you're chewing it, more and more flavors coming out. Like first flavor you got the crunch. The first thing you got is the crunchiness, and then you get the sour, and then if you chew a little bit more, you get the sweetness from the pomegranate, and then you get the spicy from the sauce, and then the bouncy flavor and umami flavor from the clam. So it's a bite that has so many things going on in your mouth, and a bite that it sums up the the fun of flavors in it. Yes. So that's the blood clam, and then next one is our signature, becoming our signature because most customer uh, love it and it's their favorite. Is the crab dish. So crab dish, um, I got inspired by my childhood memory where my parents used to take me to, Hua Hin or Pattaya, to down south to the sea, and they would always order steamed crab, blue crab, because my mom loves it, and it's my mom says it's the fun of eating when you pick yourself, because how we order and how they serve is that they just steam whole crab, just like that, and you have to, take the shells out yourself. You have to know how to do it, and my mom taught me. It's like one of the life lessons that I got from my mom, you know, taking out the shells of the crab and the meat and everything. There's a technique, and everyone's technique is different. So that's the inspiration of this course. So I want the customer to kind of like do something with the crab. That's my initial idea, to have to to it's not a course. They just put a spoon, get a spoon and scoop and then pop in your mouth. No, it's not like that. It's a course that customer needs to do it themselves. So I come up with the shell, and the shell is mud crab because the mud crab is known for its roll. So I did a crab roll emulsion and then pepper jam and stuff those inside the shells. And customer won't see it until they listen to the to the storytelling, and they flip it over and they will see that there's two sauces hidden under the shell, and then they will serve with the blue crab meat, which is hidden in the claws, and then serve with Chinese bread that is brushed with crab butter. So you see, it's kind of like DIY. It has that element of how I felt when I was young, but for customer to feel that there's something to do on the table also. That's the element I want them to feel. So that's where the whole crab course comes from, and it really really works because customer love it. I mean, it's more than just eating on a spoon. It's more dimensional, and I think that's very important to 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 create memories for the customers with us. I think many Asian people, not just Thai and Chinese, but many Asian people can connect to, because I serve on a Lazy Susan. So Lazy Susan is a turning table, and when I see it, it always reminds me of the word family, because whenever I visit my elderlies, like my grandfather, my mother, or it's a family gathering, we always sit in a round table and have this Lazy Susan in the middle, and we share the food, and we just have a bowl of rice, and then the sides we would get in the middle and turn the table, it's part of the actions and part of the fun and part of the traditions that I grow up with. So I want to, for my main course, I want to have that feeling of warmth and family and comfort to finish the course. So what I do is I customize my own lazy Susan, because even though our table is not round, I still have this round small turning table in the middle, and then put all the condiments and rice and sauces and everything on this lazy Susan and make it look full, because I want my customers to feel like to feel warm with us. I mean, we are a fine dining restaurant that is not that I don't want customers to feel intimidated. I don't want them to feel uptight. I want them to feel like home, like visiting my home, and I want them to feel relaxed, enjoy. At the end of the day, eating and cooking and you know, food is all about happiness. It's not about stressful. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a meal. That the best thing that can happen is to be happy with the food. So that's where I want the feeling of warmth and happiness and family to finish my main course, to be the last main course. And so I serve rice, which Thai people and Chinese people cannot live without. Rice, simple rice, but cooked perfectly with kombu and ginger and herbs that I put in. And served with our dry aged duck, which is one of our signature also. So I dry age my duck for 14 days, so the skin is super crispy, and as you dry age, the water evaporates, leaving more intense flavor of the duck and more tender because of the enzyme that is, the chemical reaction during the dry aging. And then I serve the leg. I serve mapo tofu, but more spicier with Sichuan pepper, and then gailan, which is Chinese kale, wok stir fried, very simple, and then all sorts of condiments and pickles that I love, and where we pickle in house. So it's a course that, really finish everything. So that's the main course. And then comes to dessert. So dessert, we have Chef Kanin or Chef Buang, which is my head pastry chef, and he's really talented. And I want the dessert to have its own life or its own course, because we have so much going on in savory part, and if you have a dessert that is very simple and very short, then it would be blinded with all the savory course. So we did a small dessert tasting menu at the end also. So the first course is the palate cleanser, which is watermelon juice, and then we clarify it so it becomes super clear, and then turn into an ice block, and customer can use their fingers to eat it. So that's where also the sense comes in, the touching sense. And then next one would be the corn. The corn dessert dish is also a very iconic dessert snack, street dessert snack in Yaowarat. But nowadays you can hardly find. I don't know why, but I love it so much. And then the main dessert comes, so it's a chocolate course, which we use chocolate that is grown in Thailand. It's from Tasala chocolate. And then we serve with cashew praline and fermented lime, and with mirin ice cream. So it's a combination of chocolate and a little bit of creaminess and sour add a little bit of fermented lime, which is very common in Thai Chinese culture. So it's a flavor, it's a chocolate dessert that no one ever combined those flavors before. So it's something very interesting and customer love it. And we also serve the powders that the customer needs to knock it in order to fall apart in a sugar ball, which is blown by Chef Kluang. Yep, so that's the dessert. And then after dessert, not done yet, we have a finishing dessert, which is shaved ice. My favorite, one of my favorite things to eat, because I even have it on my wedding, in my wedding for the customers, because Thailand's really hot, and wherever I go and see shaved ice selling, I would buy it. And you can choose your own toppings. That's the fun part. Like there's a lot of toppings, and so that's where we came up with many toppings of our own. All the toppings at Potong we serve on this course is made in-house. When customer thinks that it's done, there's one last thing. You can't finish Chinese restaurant without fortune cookie. So we have our own version of fortune cookies, and inside there's an inspirational quote or sometimes a funny quote for the customer to leave, and people love it.
ทันเวลามากินเลย
ดีใจมากดีใจแทน
จองไว้นานหรือยังคะก่อนที่ได้ใช่ไหม
ใช่ครับก็เลยดีใจ
Yaowarat is a very vibrant, very active. It's like a city on its own around here. People, if before I really come and work here and come to Potong every day, I think that people around here is very noisy and very, how do you say the word? Very not harmful. Oh, very loud, and very straightforward. If they say you can't park here, they're just very straightforward. See, the sound is like always around. Something's always happening in Yaowarat. And now there's a dragon parade.
ขนมหวานไฟฟ้าถูกกดได้นะครับร้านนกแต่กล้วยๆนะเค้กเต้าไว้เต้าถูกค่ะฮัลโหล
Growing up, I always been cooking with my mom, and my mom always cook, Thai Chinese food, also Western food because my dad is half Australian. He has Caucasian blood in him because my granddad is married to Australian lady, which is my granny right now. So I growing up eating and cooking a mixture of Thai, Chinese, and Western food in one meal to cater my father also. And after that, I went to university studying communication arts. Nothing about cooking at all, but I realized that that's not what I want to be. So during the second year, I talked to my mom. I went up to my mom saying that I don't want to study, continue this study anymore. And she said, surprisingly, she said, good, go study cooking. And I was surprised how supportive she was because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, becoming a cook, especially a female, is not a job that most Thai parents want their child to be. It's not a proud job at that time. And not a lot of people think that being a cook or a chef cannot grow or cannot earn a lot of money. They always say that you have to become a doctor, a banker, engineer. But my parents are really supportive because my mom always wanted to study culinary also, cooking. But she never had a chance to do that because it was very expensive back then. So I told my mom, okay, I'm gonna study cooking, but I will finish my college first, my bachelor degree. So during bachelor degree, I continued studying. At the same time, I did some, side cooking classes to, not waste my time about cooking, and also to confirm myself that I really like it, and I did. I mean, it was everything I was looking for. It was the heat in the kitchen, it was the adrenaline, it was the activeness, it was the movement, everything I love about in the kitchen. I just feel very comfortable in the kitchen more than sitting in front of the computer. That I cannot do it at all. And then after that, I studied cooking in Bangkok, and then I went to many cooking competitions. I won some, I lose some, and it's part of the experience. And I decided to go to New York to the Culinary Institute of America, which is a very renowned culinary school. And there I learned so many things from, apart from cooking. I mean, I learned cooking, of course, and I learned how to I would say survive, because when I was in Thailand, I always have my parents with me. I always have someone looking after me. But then I'm there, I have to do everything by my own. Maybe for foreigner it's normal, but for Asian culture it's something very very new, and I think I learned a lot from there. From that, I was becoming more independent. Yes, I become more independent and learn more about myself and what I want to do. So after the culinary school, I went to work at John George, 3-star Michelin restaurant back then, and there I even learned more things about the food industry and the what's the word, the hardness. I mean, I learned a lot about the work that needs to be done in the kitchen to become a better of yourself. I mean, it's not easy to work in this industry because of the long hours and the heat and everything. And I remember I didn't have a work-life balance at all. It was always work when I was in New York, and I enjoyed it a lot because I feel like I belong there, So that's my, my life in abroad. And when I come back in 2016, I told my mom that, okay, I want to open a restaurant of my own. But back then my parents were like, oh no, you're too young, and you were away for 4 or 5 years, and you don't know about the Thai market. What are you gonna do? I mean, open a restaurant and cooking in a restaurant is totally different responsibilities. So I didn't open a restaurant back then. I did a private dining and opened a casual joint. It's called Smoked. We sell smoked meat, brisket, ribs, chicken, because I miss New York so much and miss the food that I had there. So I opened something that I want to eat back then. In Yaowarat or in Chinatown in Thailand, it's a market of wholesale. It's really cheap, but you have to buy a lot. It's mostly for B&B, for business to business. But then the business around here is dying because of China is selling from the factory to the customers. So the middle guy where they sell shoes and bags around here are dying, and they're out of business. So many shop houses here are putting up signs for rent a lot if you walk around. So one of them is our tenant that left, and one day my parents called me, hey, Potong building there's no one renting, do you want to come and see? And me and my husband was like, yes, okay, let's come and see. And my granddad also brought us here, because he used to live here, so he's the best one to tell what each floor is. So when you come in, on the first floor, we didn't see the ceiling yet because the old tenant covered it up to make it smaller space to minimize the AC, the electricity cost. So first floor was nothing. I didn't see the heritage yet. I didn't see the history. Second floor also, they used to keep all the shoes, so there was racks everywhere, and shoes and everything. But when I came up on the third floor, because my granddad locked third floor up, they rented out only first floor and second floor. So when I came up to third floor, I can feel like there's so many, history behind the walls that was hidden and was untold all these years. And I have chills, as you can see on the third floor, the shrines here, it's original, and I was surprised the condition of of this. And as I walk up, my granddad tell the story like, okay, this is the outside, the balcony of the third floor used to be the kitchen, and then behind there, which is now the kitchen of Potong, is used to be the bedroom. And then as we walk up on the fourth floor, where now it's opium bar, used to have opium bed in there. And then as we walk up on the fifth floor, used to be the garden, and used to be the a space for stargazing. And I was very, I feel connected to the building without ever visit or ever living in here. And I feel like I was talking to my husband like, okay, if I turn this into a restaurant, how amazing would that be, to share this untold history of my family to the guests. And so that's where Restaurant Potong started, from that moment.